Everybody, it's Paul. Is there a best ball position? Absolutely. Does moving it around affect your flight? Absolutely. Is it the same for everyone? Definitely not. Stay tuned. Let me show you what happened when I moved mine up in my stance and back in my stance, and I'll give you a couple of tips on how you can find the best one for you. So in order to determine or actually even confirm the best ball position for me, I've got some different placements set up here. I've got 4 different balls and I've set them up increasingly moving back towards my back foot. Now I know a couple of these are just not going to work, but I'm going to show them anyway because I've got a lot of students who have the ball in some strange places, and when I go to move it on them, they fight me a little bit on it until I actually convince them to try it and they see the results. So I'm going to hit balls from each position, go over the data, and show you how these worked for me. So this is ball position 1, the one that's the most forward in my stance. And this is where I always play my ball. It's about a fist inside of my heel. Now, the first question everyone's going to say is, well, what club? Well, it doesn't matter. My ball position is there for all of my clubs, all of my irons, all of my wedges. The only thing that changes is my back foot moves in. So as my back foot moves in, it will seem like it's more in the back. However, just keep in mind that the ball position is about a fist inside of my heel. So let's look at the data for ball position A. So my 7-iron, it's flying on an average 201 yards carry, and that's almost every single time. There's very little discrepancy. I think there's only 4 yards from front to back, from longest to shortest. It's leaving on almost the same trajectory all the time, launch angle. So it's giving me the same window of knowing how the ball is going to fly. My swing path, so this is where it's going to get interesting in ball position. My swing path is running around 5.5 degrees inside out. And if you look at it, there's less than a half a degree difference from the biggest to the smallest path. So that means that my club is traveling almost exactly the same every single time into the ball. And then my face angle is about 3.5 degrees closed. So that gives me a small little draw out of those inside out swing paths. Now, my discrepancy of dispersion is around 4 to 5 yards offline. So if we look at the offline numbers there, 4 to 5 yards at 200 yards on an iron, I'll take that all day long. And then it's flying really nice and high at about 34, 35 yards high, and it's coming in steep and landing quick. So that's position A. So now we're into position B, which is another couple of balls back farther in my stance from the original one. So let's see what this does to the data. So let's look at data for ball position B. So the carry distance is still very, very similar, roughly around 199, 200 yards, so not much difference there. Launch angle has dropped down a little bit. My swing path has increased a fair bit. My club face angle also has increased a little bit. And my overall height has dropped down, and my landing angle has dropped down. So in essence, it's flying a little bit lower, which is going to run out a little bit more, and I'm getting some movement on the ball. So because my path and my face angle are bigger, the ball has to move in a bigger arc in order to get back to normal. It is finishing on the same dispersion levels, give or take a yard, so it's still very good. However, it's moving around a lot, and if I can get to the same place by moving straighter, then I think that that's a better way to go. However, this is still a very good position here. So let's look at ball position C. This is now getting in towards the back half of my stance, and it's a position that I'm not really comfortable with, so I don't have the ball back there very often. But the purpose of this exercise is to see whether it works or not. So now the data for ball position C is starting to tell a good story, and it's really showing why this test was done. My overall carry distance, I've now got about a 15-yard gap from shortest to longest, whereas I had a 4-yard at my first ball position. I've also got a swing path where I used to have about a half a degree between biggest and smallest. I've now got about 4 degrees. So I've got a big change moving in and out of my swing path. My club face is also a little bit more erratic. It's opening and closing a little bit more than normal. So I'm not building the same consistency. My ball continues to fly a little bit lower and come in at a little bit shallower and run out a little bit more, which is not what I want with an iron. So at this point, we're starting to see diminishing returns. Ball position D. I'm now in uncharted waters because I don't ever have a ball back this far in my stance. However, let's see if I've been wrong all along and whether this is the magic spot. So the data for ball position D, and this makes me smile because it's just so outlandish to just see how a ball position can change things. I've lost 10 yards of distance. My swing path is now almost 10 degrees inside out versus 5.5. So I'm swinging at the ball on twice the angle that I was, which is difficult to build consistency on if you're going to be that far swinging on an angle. My club face has to open and close more. So the more I swing inside out, the more I have to close my club face or manipulate it in order to bring the ball back on line. It flies lower, it comes in shallower, and the offline tripled in distance from 4 yards at the best ball position to 12 yards from the worst ball position. So it's shorter, it's almost 3 times as far offline, and all of this changed from a ball position. So, what did I learn? Well, I learned that there certainly is a good ball position, and it has been the one that I've been using all along, so I'm glad about that because I don't have to change anything. And I also learned that the farther back it went, the worse things got. Now, this doesn't mean that this is going to be the same for everybody. There's a lot of things that can come into play that determine your ball position, and that's why data like this is so essential for building a swing. So you can go to somewhere, go to T-Box. If you have a launch monitor at home, set it up. Get your readings, get your data, see what happens when you change things around. Ball position, once again, is not going to be the same for everyone. If I turn tighter, then I can have it more in the back. If I'm sliding into the ball, I need it more up front. If I'm coming down steep, I might have it in one place. If I'm sliding and swooping it away and picking the ball, I'm going to approach the ball at a different place. So there's no one perfect ball position for everyone under every circumstance, but you can find it because the data is there. If you want to determine what it is, it's easy to do. So work on things like these. These are easy fixes that don't require any skill sets, and they can certainly make a big difference when you go back out into the summer. I'm Paul Kelly. Thanks for watching.